So are they just going to hear us?
Yes, they're just going to hear us just like right now. So we are ready to go as we are talking thoroughbred horse racing here on our new format. And of course, we also want to remind everybody that we are on a new platform, not only to record the videos, but also to post the videos on YouTube over on a channel called Proline TV. So you can still get our videos over on our horse racing channel for a little bit, but we want you to come on over to Proline TV because this is where we're really going to have a lot of fun. We're going to be mixing horse racing with a whole bunch of other sports. Just about any sport you could think of, we're going to be mixing horse racing with. So I think that's going to really help our traffic overall, and I'm looking forward to that. John, good to see you after off.
Nice to see you, and don't forget to hit subscribe. Do you hit subscribe on this?
Yes, you hit subscribe on this too. Hitting subscribe on this is also very important because this is
I have one job and reminding everyone to hit subscribe. So
yes, this is a new channel here. Right. So the quicker you guys can hit subscribe and come on over here, you make my life a lot easier because I convinced these two very successful, very legendary sports handicappers to go into business with me on this channel. So make me look good. All right. So we've got Churchill Downs this week. And matter of fact, don't forget also Patreon members, they're still active at least until the end of this month, where we're going to be definitely providing additional bonus picks. So, John, you do have a bonus pick that we're going to be giving out after we're done with these two races at Churchill for Patreon members only, correct?
Yes, sir. The fifth race, it's a mile on the turf. I like a horse a lot in that race, so we'll do it, I guess, whenever you want to do it.
All right. So, yeah. So, again, if you want to become a Patreon member through the end of the month, you can do that. But once we hit December, it's just going to be potluck of when we do return to Patreon. But we will return. We promise you on that to Patreon because we're going to have some really cool, special things to provide you guys. All right. Anyway, let's go to Churchill, and we're going to start with race number 8. So we got both graded stakes races on the show today. We're going to start with the mile race, the Chilukki.
Correct.
Grade 3. Both grade 3 races today. Both $3,000 purses. This is fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. Matter of fact, we've got the Black-Eyed Susan winner, who I believe is the second choice, taxed along with the morning line favorite, Too Sharp, a 2-to-1 shot. That's the 4-horse. And then the 2 is next in line, Pigalle at 9-2. So those are the top 3 horses as far as the morning line is concerned, John. I can't wait till we talk about a horse that is just popping out to anybody that follows the sheet. So I'm sure you know which horse I'm talking about. We'll save that one, but talk about the 3 favorites here in this race.
Well, I'm not a fan of Tax, that's for sure. It looks like he's starting to tail off a little. She's starting to tail off a little bit. I mean, she has faster numbers earlier this year. But her last 2 races, both of them not as good as the races 3 and 4 starts back. So if she's really the favorite or close to it, I guess I would try to beat her. I would use her with a horse that I'm king. And as far as Too Sharp is concerned, the problem with Too Sharp is her last 3 races all fast. But she's coming off of Lasix, where she ran the last good number, and she's stretching out to a mile today for the first time. She's bred to handle it, but she hasn't run it yet. As far as Pigalle is concerned, that's actually going to be my top pick. I know the horse. Yeah, I know the horse that you love, and originally I loved the horse too until I looked further into it, and I'm going to explain to you why. But the race 2 starts back that Pigalle ran was an 8, and an 8's going to win this race. She's 9-2, and I think she's going to run that 8 today.
All right, let's start from the top. Imonra.
Yeah, slow. I mean, no single digits, a 13 top.
Yeah.
2 and 4 starts back. She's slow.
Yeah, she's slow, no question. All right, so you mentioned Pigalle, the 9-2 shot. So, yeah, she's got the 8 in August, 2 starts back, as you mentioned. And she's also got 4 out of 5 first, second at Churchill. That's good. And 5 wins out of 7 at this distance. So, yeah, there is a lot to like about. And, of course, you're getting almost 5-1. So,
exactly.
The 3 taxes you mentioned, John, again, Black-Eyed Susan winner last year, not this year, last year. Had really only 1 bad race this year, but that was the last race. That was the 14. Otherwise, she's got a lot of 10s, 11s, and 12s this year. A couple of 10s back-to-back at Churchill Downs.
Yeah,
So
you can't use them all, and you're looking for some value. So again, those 210s that she ran 3 and 4 steps back, either one of the last 2 races, she could have run that number and she didn't. So I'm looking at it as slightly negative. Listen, she could certainly win. Don't get me wrong, and maybe she is the play. But the 2 horse already ran the 8. She's yet to run the 8. So there, and the 2 is going to be a much longer price, I think, than Text.
Too Sharp as the morning line favorite, as we both talked about. One race at Churchill, that was the first race, but you can't really tell whether or not that's it's just a first race. Ran a 17. Since
that race means nothing. You're first out, they give them a race. Who knows? It doesn't mean much, especially when they improve dramatically in the second race. And then the third race is also a pretty good race. She ran the 11 off of the 10. And then came right back and ran the 10. She's fine. There's nothing wrong with her except for the price. Listen, 4 career starts, 2 wins in 2 seconds. So she's never really run a bad one yet.
The 5 Royal Spa, Pratt on board. Pratt's been on board in 2 of the last 4 races. 2 wins out of 4 at Churchill. Those 2 wins, actually, the last 2 races at Churchill, not very good, a 16 and a 17. So really, this horse has been pretty slow. The only good thing about the horse is really he got Pratt on board. That's about it.
Yeah, well, Pratt rode her last time. The problem with this horse is she has 12 lifetime starts already. And, basically she's showing you what she's going to give you. She's 4 years old. She's going to be 5 in a month. So I don't know. I don't think she's getting better. And she's going to be shorter than the 8-1 you see.
The 6, Positano Sunset. And we do have an 8 that was at Churchill in a grade 3 race, the Chicago Stakes, finishing second back in June. But since then, only a 12, 16, and 12.
Yeah, but I'm going to use this horse because of the price. She did run that. She does have that 8 4 starts back at Churchill, which was the best race she's ever run in her life. So she does have a shot to make a forward move, and she's 10-1.
Okay, so Avoir, this is the horse that really just Avoir. This is the horse that sticks out, but there's some good things, and then you can see the negative things. The thing that I got to ask you, though, well, first of all, just as far as the sheets are concerned, you got the turf races. The best you got are 9 and 10, March, February. Since then, you got 12s, 13s, and 14s. But then he decides, I'm going to run her on dirt every once in a while. When I do, she throws 2 6s in there. So now it's like, all right, let me go back to dirt. So I guess I got to ask you, when you see this, John, and look, this, I don't know what the trainer, this horse is the oldest horse in the field, 32 starts, 17 wins. Only once did she race at Churchill, though. That was in November, ran a 15 in this race last year. So she ran a third, 8th length back and ran a 15. But why is that? Why does a trainer, why would you go back to turf when you see that the numbers are so much better? And not only the numbers, but she won both of those races when she ran a 6.
Yeah, well, both of those races, when she ran the 6, though, you have to read between the lines here. If you look quickly, this horse looks like she jumps off the page at you. When I first did the race, I said, wow, how's this 6-1? She's got 4 6s in this race. No one in their life ever ran near a 6. But you got to go and do the deep dive here. Listen, I'm definitely using this horse. Don't get me wrong. But she's not the standout that she appears to be. First of all, the first 6 that she ran this year, she went back on Lasix, right? And then she ran the 2 turf races. Then she went back to the dirt and went back on Lasix and ran a 6 again.
Okay.
So both of her 6s this year were both on Lasix.
Okay.
Last year, when she ran the 15 in this race last year, like you were talking about, it was coming off an 11 on the turf. The problem is that dirt race was without Lasix.
Okay.
So her only race at a mile distance off of an 11 on the grass was the worst race she ran in the last 3 years. So
what about the 6 last year?
Yeah,
was that also Lasix?
Yes, it was, because she went on Lasix for the 9 the race before that, and she stays on Lasix until the 15 on the dirt.
Okay.
You see the Lasix, she went back on Lasix at Hawthorne, then she ran the 6 at Hawthorne, 2 turf races. And you ask why she's on the turf, because she won those 2 turf races. But little does the trainer know that she's much, much, much better on the dirt than she is on the turf. Maybe he'll figure it out. You know, I don't know. Maybe I should send him an email or something and try to tell him that this horse can make a lot more money running on the dirt sprinting and races where she could use Lasix, and they'd make a lot more money. But listen, take nothing away from the horse. 32 starts, 17 wins.
Yeah.
So she certainly is a professional. She knows how to find the winner's circle. Again, the problem with her is no Lasix and a mile. The distance race last year, worst race that she ran at Churchill without Lasix. That's why I jumped off of her.
Yeah, and we'll see. Maybe we'll get even better than 6-1 odds. That would be nice. So.
Yeah, but if she's going to run a 15, she's not going to hit the board.
No, not if she runs a 15. No.
Right. So that's
yeah. So yeah, like you, definitely get a player, but I'm also going to play the next horse, and that is the 8 Fancy. Of the combo of Gaffalione and Walsh, of course, coming off a win last time out, 3 wins in the last 5 starts. I also like the fact that even though she ran a 14 in her last start, which was the win, if you look back from last year, the last race last year, actually, we can even just look at this year, ran a 17, 16, 12, and 8. So she improved all 4 of her races to the 8 in her second to last race, then finally had that 14 in the Keeneland win. I do see, of course, that she has gone up against your horse here a couple of times and lost both times. So that's something to keep an eye on. But look, 6-1, Gaffalione Walsh. I think she's worth a shot here.
I would love this horse if she didn't run the 14 last time out, because her first 3 races this year were all run on sloppy racetrack, 17, 16, 12. She finally hits a fast track 2 starts back, and what does she do? She runs the 8.
Yeah.
Not only does she run the 8, she runs the 8 at a mile distance. She runs the 8 without Lasix. So everything is good.
Okay.
The problem with this horse is you're going to lose value in this horse because she won her last race with a bad number. She backed up 6 points and ran the 14. So can she make a forward move? Of course she can. And she's likely to make the forward move off the 14, but you're losing value because she is coming off of a win.
Okay. All right. Well, you're going to go with the 2 as your top horse.
The 2 is my top horse. I'm going to use the 4, 2 Sharp, the 6, Pastiano Sunset, and the 7, Au revoir underneath. If one of them scratched, then I would use the 8 Fancy as an alternate underneath. But I like the 2 the best. 2 with 4, 6, 7, reverse them small if there's room.
All right. And I am going to go with, I'm actually going to go ahead and roll the dice on the 8. So I'm going to go 8 over 3-7. So that'll be my pick. By the way, speaking of scratched, I do have to go back to we had a couple of our comments from our viewers. So remind everybody, yes, comments, questions, all that stuff is also very, very important here as we're building our channel. The algorithm loves conversations for the videos, so keep those up, please. But one of them was Bill Copper 7761. Guys, if you can include the AE horses going forward, would be appreciated. Now, Bill says this, John, because we mentioned this about a month ago, when for the first time that I think we could ever recall, we've been doing this for like 15 years, that we could ever recall one of the AE horses, the also eligible horses, actually won. So that's why we were like, well, one out of 15 years.
1 in 15 years, you're going to get over it, I guess. So again, listen, here's the problem. When you do Churchill Downs, they draw literally over a week in advance.
Okay.
So it gives trainers too much time for too much to go wrong, where you'll get more scratches at Churchill in the body of the race than other tracks, because you got to deal with HISA, with the state vets, and again, with all that time entering before the race, where just too many things could go wrong. A horse could spike a fever, anything could happen. So you get more also eligibles draw in at Churchill, I think, than other tracks. So I guess when we do Churchill races, we'll include some of the also eligibles if they're fast enough, and if it matters that they draw in.
And here's another one too. And again, this is the whole thing with what I just mentioned with the comment section. Anybody notices that we didn't talk about also eligible, you notice there's a scratch, go ahead and leave a comment and I'll get it immediately. And I'll go ahead and ask John if there's an opinion on an also eligible horse that's now entered in the race. and then John will either post it up and reply himself, or he'll let me know, and I'll let you know. So either
Perfect.
way, that's the best way.
That makes a lot of sense. Let's do that.
Oh, and again, what I was going to say too is after that first time, which was about a month or so ago, it happened again to us 2 weeks ago. So it actually has happened to us twice in the last 4 shows after not happening ever in 15 years. By the way, Marty M9T said, "Where do you get the best PPs at?" And I believe I mentioned Brisnet because that's what I use. But what about you, John?
I think I replied to him also. I also use Brisnet. It's a good deal. You get the condensed PP. So usually you get a race on a page, and I think it's like $1.25. I think they raised the price per track. Or you could sign up. They have a monthly subscription. I think it's $100. You get every track you want.
There you go. All right. Race number 10 at Churchill Downs. And this is a 1 and 1/16 turf race. So how about that? We're going to do dirt and turf on the show.